Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Fun Fold Friday. My name is Erica from Me to You Paper Crafts and I'm hoping you'll enjoy this fun fold today. Let me show you my prototype. So basically this is a fun fold card that builds the card base using designer series paper. You basically start with a quarter sheet of your colored cardstock that matches your designer series paper. Then you have a piece of designer series paper that you're going to actually fold to expose part of the inside of the card. You see that? And then you're going to decorate it any way that you want. And you can insert a panel, of course, for your personal message. So the suite I'm using actually is gorgeous. It's featured right on the mini catalog cover. And this suite was the first suite that caught my eye because, first of all, I love the colors. I love the number of greens in it because I'm a big greens fan. Let me just find it. Here it is. It's called Painted Christmas. There's a 4-page spread for this particular suite. So here it shows you all the different projects that you can make. So what I love about this is it lends itself beautifully to both card making. These are even envelopes that are made out of the paper. Lots of cards to design, and then you've got some gift packaging. So if you check out either our annual catalog or there is some gift packaging in this mini catalog, you've got this gorgeous little box that is pre-scored, pre-made. You just have to kind of stick it together. There are also, let me show you on this page, there are these ombre gift bags, and then we've got this really great gold paper that you can put inside. So another little box idea, making your own little box out of designer series paper. And so it's basically, it has 2 stamp sets and 2 sets of dies, and you can pick and choose which you want to purchase. So for example, this is all of the greetings here, and I'll show that to you on this page here. These are all of the greetings, and there are matching dies. Wherever you see something shaded like that, then there are matching dies. So that's one of the stamp sets. So to coordinate that, you would purchase these dies over here, okay? So these 2 go together, and then these 2 go together. But these 2 also go together because you can die cut all of the foliage in here, including the pine cones. So, and there's some extra pine cones that you can cut out here. And then there's these great backgrounds, intricate die backgrounds. So I don't know. I just decided I couldn't decide which I wanted. So I bought the whole suite because I realized that I can do a lot of different projects with this. So here's an example of those die cuts that you can do here. And they're actually double layered on here. There's a background and then there's a detailed layer as well. Gorgeous ribbon. You've got this beautiful cherry cobbler ribbon and it's gold edged. Or you could also buy, there's another gold ribbon in the catalog. I'm not sure what page it's on, but it's a gold ribbon that's absolutely gorgeous. So you could get that ribbon as well. Here it is. It's on page 45. This beautiful ribbon here, so you can incorporate that in the project as well. There's so many intermixed products that you can, work with different suites. You can pull this red into something else, and you can pull the gold into here. Then there's these cute little fabric gold glimmery leaves, holly leaves that you can buy, and then of course the designer series paper, which for me, our designer series papers really make your projects really click because they've coordinated all the colors beautifully. There's 4 greens in here: pear pizzazz, evening evergreen, garden green, and soft succulent. So beautiful greens with your real red and your early espresso. But you can pull in all kinds of different colors, which I'm going to show you when we start stamping. So there you go. It's an absolutely stunning suite. Look at all the different projects that you can make from this suite. And I plan to actually duplicate every card in here just because the designers at Stampin' Up! Do a beautiful job, and there's no reason why you cannot copy and share everything. That's what it's all about. Okay. So let's get started. I have got some new, I'm going to show you how to do some stamping as well. I have already pre-stamped and die cut. So I've got a bowl full of things because I plan to make lots of different cards. So you've got your 2-sized pine cones here. You've got, this is a 2-step stamp. You stamp the branch and stamp the berries, but you could also die cut other berries out with different cardstocks or glimmer paper. This is actually one of our glimmer paper packs. And there's 4 different colors in this glimmer paper pack, but that is just beautiful. So you could do that as well. And then you've got your holly leaves. This is another 2-step stamp. You see, you stamp the background and then you stamp this green in the middle. There's this beautiful leaf here. And then you've got, here's another leaf that you can stamp. So you can pull out all your different greens and do all kinds of different stamping. So I'm going to show you some color combinations with different colors. Okay, we'll do a bit of stamping here. All right, so let's just put this stuff away and I'll pull it out when I put my card together. And I will show you how some of this stamping works. Some of it is pretty obvious. So when I actually made this original card, I didn't see that there was another stamp to put inside the holly leaf. So yeah, I kind of learned that as I went along. So let's pull out, here's a piece of card that I started to practice with. Again, so we'll start with the pine cones. So when you look at the pine cone stamps, you have a background stamp, a large background stamp, and then you have a detailed stamp. And then you have a smaller background stamp and a detailed stamp. Now, the detailed stamps are a tiny bit smaller. And then if you look at them, you will see that it's got, you know, it's cut so that you can see the detail on it, whereas this is way more smooth. So that's how you kind of tell the difference. Doesn't really matter which one you start with, but I like to start with the background first. So I'm going to show you some color combinations just for the pine cones. So here's the large background. Now I already did stamp the, you see the intricate stamp, the difference? Let me just stamp, I'll stamp the smaller pine cone so you can see the detail, how it turns out. So there's your detail. And actually what I should do is put my silicone mat underneath. You can use your foam mat, your piercing mat, or you can use your silicone craft sheet for some cushion. Okay, so this was in soft suede, and so I could put, this is crumb cake. So I could do a crumb cake as my background on here and just stamp right over it like that. So there you get a 2-tone. So you've got crumb cake and soft suede. This is early espresso. And so again, I could use crumb cake as my background, and then you'll see. So you just have to pull out your different browns that you have. And there's the difference there for those two, okay? So that's how those work. And then I'm going to show you, the others are pretty obvious, but I want to show you this little branch here. So I can stamp this branch in whatever brown you want. And then I'm going to pull in my real red, or you could use Poppy Parade. And the berries, okay? So when you line up the berries, you are lining up, you're turning it so that you've got the 3 berries in a row. Can you see that? 3 berries in a row, and then there's this little berry to the left. And you want to get your head right over it. So I'm just going to move this down here. I'm hoping you can still see me. So I'm just going to hover over until I see the berries kind of just touching the top of that little twig. There you go. See? So just hover and then press down. So those are the little berries. So again, you could stamp the berries, and if you wanted to, you could then die cut these berries, and you could put them on top like that if you wanted, you know, a different pattern. You could do it in white too. You could use some of our glimmer papers to dress up your berries. Lots of possibilities with this. Now I'm going to show you, this is the 2-step for the holly. So again, let's see, I'm going to do a light color to start with. So let's say I could do Pear Pizzazz here. Okay, and this will be the lighter color. And when you're stamping, you can stamp lots of images on one piece of your basic white cardstock. Make sure there's enough space in between for die cutting, and then you could place all of your die cuts on top of this using your magnetic plate, or you could use the little post-it flags that I use to hold them down, and then do one large die cut pass. So here's Garden Green, and again you want to just hover over that until you get it all lined up on there, and it should come out fairly perfect. There you go. So there's your 2 tones for that. Gives it some dimension. And also, if you don't want to stamp your pine cones, then you can certainly die cut them out, because in the die cuts there are, so here are all the die cuts. So much fun. Okay, so there's some great label dies in here. 1, 2, 3, 4 different label dies. Oh, 5, 6 label dies. Fantastic. And then there are the holly leaves and all the other leaves you can cut out. So what I do is I would stamp a whole bunch on here, and then you're just going to lie these out on here. And you are then going to, so I'm going to show you, so this little die cuts the whole little twig with the berries, or there's a separate die just for the berries. Okay, so you can do either or. So yeah, so I would put my pine cones on here. And I would put the other pine cone on here, and I would do some other foliage on here as well. So let's see, for example, I could do, might as well fill my sheet. I could do this little branch. Okay. Then I could do this branch. I could do this in the darker evening evergreen color. I love this set. It's so much fun because you're using so many different colors. So I could put this branch in here. So you get what I mean? Now, if you're planning to make a lot of projects, then I would just take, you know, cut a piece of your basic white into quarter pieces and then stamp all of them, like do this one on one piece, do this one on one piece. You know what I mean? Fill it with the same stamp and then cut them all out. And then you'd have lots to play with. And it would be a lot quicker to put your cards together because you already have them. So see, there's one for that. And then there's one for this one. Oh my God, this set is, I can't say enough about this set. I just love it, love it, love it. Okay, and so I would stick all of these on here. Here's my pine cone. Okay, and then if you're careful, you can just put this into your machine and then very carefully put the top plate on and cut them out. Or you can use, I love my little post-it flags because I can use them over and over again, and they're really easy. Look at that, I'm stuck to my sheet here. I can use these over and over again. I just love these little post-it flags. Or you could just use post-it notes. So see, I would go through and stick these on like so. You get my drift here? They're really easy. They line up beautifully, I have to say. Okay, and you would just, this one I've used a lot. I think it's losing its stickiness. So you get the idea. So you would just flag all of these and then run them through your machine. Lots of fun. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and I'll do that later so that I have more designs to use. Okay, so let's get on with making the card, because I've got lots of die cuts that I can play with. So I don't need to do up any more inking. Okay, we'll get my ink pads out of the way here. And move my stamps out of the way, and then we can get moving. Okay, so here is your quarter sheet. I chose to use real red, so this measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now down below this video there will be a link to my blog post where I'll include all of the photos and all of the cardstock cutting and scoring measurements, okay, as well as a supply list. So if you want to pick up this set, you can. All right, there's one piece of scoring that you have to do, really, really simple. So on the long side, you're going to line this up at 4 inches. Now you want to decide which piece you want to be on the front of the card versus the inside of the card. So I want this to be the inside of my card, okay? So I am going to flip it over. This doesn't really matter. You don't have to worry about this. It's all about the mountain and the valley. But I'm going to flip this over, line it up at 4 inches, and then I'm just going to give that a score. Okay, because you're folding on the mountain. But if you're a new crafter, you don't really have to worry about that. Then I'm going to grab my bone folder and fold that over. So there you go. There is your card. Okay, so you will then glue this to the front, to the back, to the, I should say, the base. And I always like to tell you that if you have trouble lining up your layers, then pick up a pad of these grid sheets. Our grid sheets are fantastic because you can line things up. You see, each square is a 1/4 inch, so I want to line this up at 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going halfway, and I'm looking at the top and the bottom. See? There you go. Okay, now I've got 2 pieces of the basic white. One piece I'm going to be building up my design on the front, like this. This doesn't have to be basic white. You might want to decide to use crumb cake, sort of to blend in more with the background of this paper. But there was white in the background of this, so that's why I chose white. And then you've got an inside panel. You don't necessarily need the cardstock piece as a layer. You could easily just put this in, and you're not centering it. You want this to be hidden when you close the card, okay? So you're not sticking it in the middle to see the white sticking out. You want to tuck it in behind like that. So it looks great just with the white, actually. You don't really need this piece. Or you could do this on the front, maybe. It's totally up to you how you want to design your card. Lots of possibilities. So you could do that, you see? I think I kind of like that. And then do a plain one on the inside. Or this could have been in Early Espresso as the background. There's just any number of things that you could decide to do. So I'm going to decide this at the end. So basically on the front of the card, all I am doing is I've already got all my die cuts. So I'm just going to pick die cuts out and then make some kind of a design. And then we'll want to do a greeting. So we can pick a greeting from the other stamp set. This is the other stamp set here. and we could do something a little bit different. So like I said, there are lots of different die cuts, okay, to fit the different greetings. So we've got this one, Friends Like You Make This Season Special. So you could, this would probably use the same die cut, and you can change the orientation on this, which is what I might do. Or you've got lots of other die cuts. So they all fit the different greetings. So you can play with those. All right, so maybe we'll do this first. So I'm going to grab another piece of I'm hoping I have some more scrap white here. I actually don't, so maybe I'll change my mind about my greeting. I've been using up all of my scrap white. I had a pile when I started. Let's see, does this fit on here? Yes, this will fit on here. So, and this is sometimes how you design, just depends on what you have handy. So let's see what we can do. I'll have a Holly Jolly Christmas. That stamp looks like that will fit in there. This one here, I think will fit in there, okay? So let's put this on a block. I've used a lot of my blocks. So have a Holly Jolly Christmas. Now keep in mind you could emboss this with gold embossing, or you can just do it in any number of your colors here. So let's see, maybe I will do it in, let's change it up a bit. Maybe I will do it in, maybe I'll do the greeting in Early Espresso this time. Now again, when you're inking up your red rubber stamps, you want to make sure that there's no ink on the edges. So when you're inking it up, you just want to go up and down, up and down. Don't rock the stamp at all. Okay, and I'm going to get this right in here like that. Okay, and we will give that a second to dry. And then we will go and cut this out on the machine. So again, I'll grab, so I buy these tape flags like this. And let's run this through my machine, which is right beside me here. These flags are, I can't say enough about these. They're great because they don't rip the paper. Whereas I have found washi tape does rip the paper, so I prefer not to use washi tape. All right, so we have our greeting, and we're going to put this up on dimensionals. So it is advisable to do your greeting first because you want to build up your foliage underneath it. So let me just put some dimensionals on here to get it ready. But I won't take the backings off. I think I'll just do those two. Okay, so this is going to go on here like this, and then we're going to put up some foliage. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. I'm going to pull out, now you could decide to put your greeting a little bit lower this time, and maybe I'll build up my foliage just, you know, on the top. So I could do something like this. I will pull this other one closer so that you can see. Let me see that. You see, so I built my foliage kind of around corner to corner underneath the greeting on this card, but I'm going to do something different this time. Let's just pull out all my little. So I've got some, here is my, so I think I'm going to put this up a bit. I'm going to do some holly leaves down here. So you can just play around and see what you can come up with. So for example, I could do that and then put some berries on the bottom of these leaves like that. You could do that sort of thing. Okay, and then I've got some little sprigs here that I could put in. Okay, and then we could add a couple of pine cones. You could do the pine cones at the bottom, or maybe we could put the pine cones sticking out like that. And then the label goes on top, you see? So there's all kinds of things that you can do. Or you could, let's see, we could repeat this pattern underneath here, like we did with the other one. And oh, here's another one of these. We could do this. Then we could take one of our smaller pine cones in the different color combination and put that under there like that. Ooh, I'm liking that. I am really liking that. I like that. So you just have to keep playing around with it until you see a pattern that you like. And now I'm going to show you a trick. I'm sure you've seen this trick before, but you take your phone. So let me just unplug my other phone here, and you're going to go to your camera and you take a picture. Okay, and then you have this picture to reference when you go to put everything together. Okay, so I'm going to start putting this card together now. I love these pine cones in the background. Okay, so I have this on here, and I'm just going to use my Tombow glue. Just put little dabs of glue on here. Not going to do a lot of glue. So I'm referring to my camera, and I'm going to put this one on here like this. Okay, then I had a piece of the green. I don't know where I put all my pieces. Oh, here they are. You need to be a bit more organized than I am. Okay, so then we have this piece sticking out over here. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to stick in some berries. This berry had its little head chopped off. Here's one. So we'll put a little berry right here. Okay. And then I have the larger pine cone. let's say right here. Then I had another berry sticking in here. Okay, it's coming along. Then we're going to have this here like that. And now we're going to build up the bottom. So we're going to have this longer leaf like here. Then we have this leaf like that. Then we have our smaller pine cone like so. And then I had another berry here. Like so. And last but not least, we have our greeting. Look at that. Is that sweet or what? Now I'm going to add a bit of Wink Stella. This one was running out yesterday. I hope I have enough in here to finish, but I like to put a little bit of Wink Stella on the berries, just to give them a little bit of shine. If you have that fine tip glue, or if you have fine tip glue or glossy accents from Stampin' Up! Doesn't make glossy accents, but if you happen to have some, then you could use that and make these berries, you know, rounded on the top. So there you go. There is your card, and then we're going to do the inside. So there's the front, and we're going to do the inside. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So you can do any kind of anything you want. So cool. And it's fun to have all these pieces out here because, you know, then you can just pick and choose from what you've got instead of saying, oh, I need that, and then going ahead and stamping it. It's just fun to have a whole bunch of stuff already out there, ready to go. All right, so for the inside of the card, you don't really need that red background, to be honest. You could do it just because you've cut it now. Okay. So I might do it just because I have cut it already. But let's stamp something on here. You could take more of your die cuts if you wanted to. So I could do I could use a couple of these holly leaves in here. There's a smaller and a larger one. Just be aware of that. So I could just do a couple of holly leaves here and then stick some berries on the bottom. Not quite sure how these go on, but maybe like that. So you could stick that on the inside of the card, and then you could write your greeting. Okay, or you could just stamp something. I'll just give you a few different ideas. So let me grab a piece of scrap paper. I try to keep my grid sheet mucky free. Okay, so another thing you could do is take some of one of your stamps. Let's just clean this off. Okay, so on the front of the card, this was in not Mossy Meadow, it was in, hang on a sec, it was in, here we go, Pear Pizzazz. So I could just stamp a nice little border on one side of the card. Like so. Okay, so you could put that inside like that. Any number of things that you can do. And then you could do the same thing on the envelope. Say on the bottom of the envelope, you could stamp these here. So let's put this on the card. There we go. So again, remember to line this up more to the left than the right. There you go. So there's your card. Here's even another idea. You could have taken some ribbon and wrapped it around the card, thread it underneath the label, and tie a bow. That would be cute too. I might do a version of that too and post it. So there are your two cards. Look how glorious they are. You could add some little jewels there if you wanted to. You can just design to your heart's content. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, check the link below the YouTube description to go to the blog and get all of the details. Thank you so much for watching. Please join me live on Facebook, either on Monday mornings for Moho Monday, but I will be skipping this Monday because it's our Canadian Thanksgiving. And I also do Case the Caddy on Thursday nights. And you can go to my Facebook page, which is From Me to You Paper Crafts. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.